Mayor Ed Lee has joined the race, and it has often been said that he would probably hurt you the most if he had entered the race. And there's a big rally yesterday in Chinatown saying, hey, let's keep this mayoral election positive. A lot of people indicated that they thought that was slightly directed at you because some of the YouTube videos your campaign put up prior to Ed Lee joining the campaign was negative. So what's your strategy moving forward now that Ed Lee has joined the campaign?
You know, our strategy has never changed. We, back in January, started to hold conversations with different groups of individuals from all sections of the city, all different neighborhood organizations and other organizations. And out of that, we've been able to collect a lot of the issues and concerns that are affecting the people of San Francisco. The concern about the infrastructure, the concern about schools, about the economy, the affordability, on and on and on. And so that has been just rich information for us to then target, exactly what we are trying to do in this particular mayor's race and when we take office. So the fact that Mayor Lee has entered into the race really hasn't affected our strategy. It continues to move forward with or without him running.
But your campaign did put out "Do Not Run Ed Lee" YouTube videos.
Well, I don't know if we have done that whatsoever. What we have done is to just simply say to Ed Lee that if you are going to run, then you owe it to the people of San Francisco as to exactly, how is it and why is it that you decide to break your promise. You said on a number of occasions that you were not going to run. You said on a number of occasions that if I don't run, then will you then appoint me as interim mayor? I believe that there were a number of votes that were given to him to become interim mayor if in fact he was not going to run. And so all of a sudden now you decide to run. And I think you owe it to the people of San Francisco as to, well, exactly what happened. How is it that you decide to run and break that particular promise? Who helped you to make that particular decision? I've, on a number of occasions, have been very, very clear. This is democracy. I welcome Ed Lee. If he wants to run, he ought to run. And so that's that's something I've said to him directly, to other individuals, and that continues to be my position.
On Monday's debate, though, you called for him to resign. Do you think that's practical?
Well, the reason why I asked him to resign is that he got his position as mayor because he promised that he was not going to run, right? He made a contractual agreement with members on the Board of Supervisors that he was not going to run. He even caused the city and county of San Francisco to change the rules by which we operate. The rules by which we operate is that if you are, in fact, a mayor, then you cannot come back to city service. He got the city and county of San Francisco, the Board of Supervisors, and the Ethics Commission to change the rules just for him. It's not applicable to anybody else, just for him. And so he then asked us to go through all kinds of gymnastics to allow him to then get back his old job. And now that he has decided that he is not going to do that and that he is now going to break his promise, it seemed to me then that he should, to make it whole once again, to then resign and run. There's no questions or no argument about his ability and his right to run. We welcome him. I welcome him. He ought to then just simply run, but not then be given the position of mayor as well.
But do you honestly think it's practical for him to resign in the middle of the election, for us to put in another interim mayor, to have an election in November? Do you think that's practical, or do you think that's just like many candidates did on Monday, another attempt to make this campaign negative and take pot shots at Mayor Ed Lee's decision instead of talking about the issues?
Well, if he were to resign, the president of the board would take over, David Chu. I mean, he's been doing a fairly good job, reasonable job, and so on.
But he's also a candidate for mayor.
Well, but the difference is that, he was not the one who said, change the rules for me so that then I can go back to my old job. I want my old job. And now he's saying, I don't want my old job and I want to be mayor. And so what he has to do is to undo that original agreement, and that's what he should do, and not be mayor while he's running.
Is it true that your campaign had a set of cable commercials to start this week, but you delayed them due to the outrage over the negative aspects of where this campaign is going because your cable commercials were negative?
No, I think that, we have a particular strategy of going and getting our message out. We try different messages and so on. We try, different strategies and so on, and that's part and parcel of our campaign efforts to get me elected.
Speaking of the interim mayor, I'd like to ask all of you to assess the job you think he's done as interim mayor and to differentiate yourself from him as candidates and explain how you think he'd do a better job. Joan?
Sure. So I think he has done, as I've said, even an able job in executing a lot of plans that were already in place. So Gavin Newsom initiated the Twitter deal. That was very much a part of his efforts and his administration. And David Chu really did shepherd that through the process with the Board of Supervisors. And Mayor Lee was part of that process. The same thing on a number of issues. I mean, the America's Cup, in terms of what's happening with the America's Cup, with pension reform, it was actually Supervisor Ellsburn who had been working on this part of Gavin Newsom's administration. Then Supervisor Ellsburn really taking a leadership role and in stewarding that process, and Mayor Lee came in the closing phase of it. So I think from an administrative standpoint, he's done a very good job. What I would look for, and I hope will come out, just in terms of his viability, is a discussion about vision. Because I haven't seen anything he's done to date that has, in the 7 months he's been in place, that really is about something new, something that he initiated. He's kind of taken the to-do checklist that was left over from the Newsom administration and executed on that. So I would look to see his vision going forward. And setting a vision and executing on that is something I've done my whole life. I set a vision in terms of a new approach to venture capital. I had no venture capital experience when I first started my firm. But I felt that there was a new way to approach how you evaluated investments and how you made investments, a market-driven approach versus a technical innovation-driven approach. It's about studying markets and looking for technology to meet market needs versus investing in technology and then looking for the market, kind of a flip on the industry. As you even asked me before, how would you manage this complex system? People said, well, how are you going to manage a venture capital fund? And I made sure I surrounded myself with great people with deep roots and deep expertise in doing that. And I set a vision, I executed on it, and I have now, as I said, supported more than 60 companies in the Bay Area. So that makes me quite different. I don't just talk about things, I actually get them done.
Thank you. I've known Ed a long, long time, and he is certainly an affable, likable administrator. I welcome, unlike the other candidates, I'm not too worried about the promise he broke to them to not get on the race. I'm more worried about the promise he broke to the people of the city and county of San Francisco through his lack of independence and lack of leadership that he has demonstrated to me. He has let the people of San Francisco down. For example, he signed a pension deal that adds another $4.28 billion onto the backs of the taxpayers in the next 6 years. Why did he do that? To placate the special interest. He talks about jobs, how he's created jobs. But you know what's interesting? The unemployment rate is now higher than when he took office. He talks about how he balanced the budget. You know what's interesting? Now, I'm an administrator you're talking to, 30 years of it. He added 10% onto our general fund. Has the population increased 10%? Are the streets any better? Is anything any better? No. He's talking about a $240 million street repair bond when we've had hundreds of millions and bonds passed to do street repair under his direction, under his administration as a CAO. Were the streets fixed? Were the potholes fixed? No. I like Ed. I welcome him in the race as the one candidate who's got the experience to debate him on the issues. I really like it. It sets me up now to debate him on the issues that are important to the people in the city and county of San Francisco. I'm really not interested in his broken promises to the other candidates because it was all a masquerade anyway. I knew this. I never weighed in on this. I knew from the very beginning that this guy was going to run for mayor because look at the people behind him. They have been running this city for 20 years. They do not want to lose the mayor's office to an outsider. And they've got 3 or 4 people running in case Ed stumbles. They're going to step right in and do the bidding of the machine. You talk about Sean Ellsburn leading the pension reform deal. That was a machine play right from the beginning. There's a way to do this, but no one's had the integrity, the courage, the honesty to step up to the plate and say, here's what's needed. And that's what I'm bringing to the race. Honesty, integrity, loyalty, and pride to the people of San Francisco.
Leland, before we get to your answer, let me just follow up.
Sure.
The point you just made about the pensions, you said that the interim mayor's pension deal adds to the liability?
Oh, absolutely.
Explain how it adds.
Because we have almost a $7 billion liability coming our way at $320 million a year loss. Compounded over the next 6 years, we're looking at $7 billion. Because Ed Lee, the interim mayor, didn't understand the numbers and let the unions dictate to him, he himself said 3 weeks before he signed the deal that anything short of saving the city $320 million a year is no good. He wasn't going to go for it. What did he do? He signed a deal that's only going to save the city 30 to 50 million, maybe 60 million. So we have a shortfall here, don't we? That's going to add over 6 years another $4 billion. Jeff's plan will save more, about twice as much, but it doesn't deal with the big kahuna. That's healthcare.
Got it.
So these numbers now are not Tony Hall's numbers. These are numbers of the most extensive pension reform study done in the United States. That's out of Stanford University.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I have to compliment. I think the individuals, the mayor's office and the board of supervisors, there seems to be a different tone in City Hall. There seems to be a tone of being colleagues and being civil and really trying to help the city move forward on some of their major issues, such as the budget, the pension, some of our infrastructures, and so on. So, one ought to be complimenting, I think, all the different individuals who are involved in those particular efforts. But I will tell you that the ingredient for that civility has to do with the fact that Mayor Lee indicated he was not going to run, that they were going to take politics out of the public policy deliberation. And so all of a sudden now that you inject this political element back into City Hall, I'm not sure that it is going to continue, and I think that's where the problem comes in. Now, again, we've got major challenges before us, and it is going to take good relations between the Board of Supervisors and the Mayor's office in order to execute that. CPMC continues to hover over us. The economy continues to hover over us. The infrastructure problem continues to hover over us. And so I think that it remains to be seen as to what this administration is going to end up. Whether or not there is going to be a lot of vitriolic plays, in City Hall, or in fact the calm, deliberative activities that we've seen in the first several months of the beginning of this year is going to continue into the remainder of this year.